Hello and welcome back to the Marketing 101 for Small Business Owners podcast. I'm your host, Philippa Channer, and today's episode, we're diving into the world of social media planning for 2024. As we try to dig into and further understand just how much social media is changing and evolving, it's essential for small business owners to develop effective strategies that really resonate with their audience and drive results. Whether you're just starting or looking to level up your social media game, this episode is packed with actionable tips and insights to help you plan your social media strategy for success in 2024. If you're new here, what you're going to get on this podcast is basic marketing strategies, business strategies, just to help any small business, solopreneur, entrepreneur just really get a better handle on how they manage their day-to-day business and how they execute and plan strategies for their business to help them get to the next level. And I prepare content in monthly batches. So this month we're doing a batch on social media management, and I hope you get some good nuggets. So today's point, we're going to dive right in. And the first thing we need to do in order to level up our social media game is to start by setting clear objectives. I am a strategist at heart, and you cannot have a strategy unless you know what you're going for. So you need to start by defining your goals and objectives. It's crucial to define what it is, where you're going, what do you want to accomplish before you start just spitting out social media content. Whether it's increasing brand awareness, driving website traffic, generating leads, setting specific and measurable objectives will guide your social media strategy and help you determine what your success looks like. All right, the next thing you need to do is align your objectives with business goals. So ensure that your social media objectives align closely with those business objectives that you just established. By establishing this alignment, you can ensure that your social media efforts contribute directly to your business growth and success. It doesn't make sense to put a lot of effort into creating a social media campaign that stands alone and doesn't align and help get you close to what your business goals are. So you want to make sure that those align. Yes, you can create content every now and then that is separate from the business goals just to kind of entertain and delight your audience. But majority of your content should be aligned with your goals. All right. And then you also want to make sure that the goals that you're setting meet the SMART goal setting criteria. You want to use this criteria because it helps create goals that are so well-rounded and just really grounded in making sure that you understand and can achieve your goals. So the SMART goals, if you don't know, stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And these help make sure that your goals are realistic and actually attainable. This framework works to provide a structured approach to your goal setting and enables you to be able to track whether or not you're reaching your goal on a timely manner. All right. Now, the next point for today is understanding your audience. You cannot really do effective social media marketing and social media management if you don't even know who your audience is and who you're talking to. So you need to do some first audience research and persona development. Conduct some thorough audience research to gain some insights into the demographics, the preferences, and the behaviors of your target audience on their social media platforms. You want to develop some buyer personas of your ideal client to understand their needs, their challenges, and motivations. You want to make sure you know who you're talking to, and you want to make sure that you are talking in the first person perspective. So you're talking directly to them. It's going to resonate and hit so much better when you talk directly to your audience instead of talking to everybody and hoping that it hits the right person. And so just talk to one person and you'll see it makes a total difference. Then you want to identify the platform preferences. Determine which social media platform your target audience frequents and preferences the most. Each of the platforms out there really attract a unique demographic and offers different features and engagement opportunities. So you want to tailor your social media strategy to prioritize the platforms where your audiences are most active. Now, if you're just getting started, you'll hear me often recommend that you want to start on a platform that you're comfortable with so you can really get used to and find your social media voice. And hopefully that platform aligns with your audience. But if it doesn't, then you want to transition to the right platform because it doesn't make sense talking to a room that nobody's listening. So you want to make sure that you understand the right platform to use and be on that one. And then the next step when it comes to understanding your audiences is listening and engaging. Actively listening to your audience's conversations on social media platform will help you understand their interests, their pain points, and preferences. You want to engage with them authentically by responding to these comments, their messages, and anytime that they mention you or something about your product or your service, and participating in relevant discussions. This is really going to help. One, for you to understand how your audience talks about the problems and challenges they're facing surrounding the product or service that you're offering. But it also helps give you an opportunity to show up and enter those conversations and provide those wisdoms and those bits of help to establish your authority as a good provider and a good solution for the problem they're facing. All right, so next, we just talked about platform selection, so we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit more. So choosing the right platform, selecting the social media platform, again, that aligns with your business goals, aligns with your target audience, and it gives you the ability to execute your content strategy the way that you do best. All right, so consider factors such as the platform's demographics, the content feature preferences, and advertisement options, because you do want to do some advertisements eventually if you aren't already doing them. And so you want to use them on the platform that you already have a presence. And so make sure you understand how those advertisement options work. Then you want to actually start tailoring your content for each platform. Develop tailored content strategies for each social media platform, again, based on its unique characteristics, the audience preferences, and the different tools and resources that platform has. So you want to customize content formats, your posting schedules, and any of the engagement tactics that it gives to you to maximize reach and engagement on each of the platforms. Now, when I say each platform, that means just knowing your platform and knowing the difference between the others and how to use it best. What I don't want you to do, unless you have a team, if you have a team at your disposal that you can tap into to help with this, if you are by yourself, you don't want to stretch yourself thin and try to show up authentically and 100% engaging on every platform. You're going to just exhaust yourself and you won't have time to actually run your business and do your business because you'll be so busy on social media trying to engage on each platform effectively that you won't be able to actually serve your clients. So pick one platform and really tailor your content, understand your audience on that platform. All right, so the next one is content pillars and themes. Again, once you've identified the right platform, you understand how to create content for that platform, you want to start identifying content pillars or themes. Basically, those are topics or different, buckets of content that you can pull from. So identify key content pillars and themes that align with your brand identity, your value proposition, and audience interest. This will provide a framework for creating diverse and engaging content that's going to resonate with your audience on a much deeper level. All right, so now I'm going to give you some examples. So I am working with a client who have live chickens, and the chickens are starting to produce an abundant amount of eggs, way too much for their family, for the neighbors, even for their extended family who live in the area. They're getting so many eggs that they don't have enough people to distribute them to. So they're going to start selling eggs. And they've decided their content buckets or their content pillars are going to be in three different main areas. One, just the history and the behind the scenes of daily just taking care of the chickens and what that's like. They have 2 roosters as well. And so that's going to provide some interesting comedy. If you know anything about taking care of roosters, they're quite aggressive and can be a little mean. And so just dealing with the 2 of them and watching the family engage and just how they take care of the chickens and the coop. So that's going to be one content bucket. The next content bucket is going to be educating people on how to take care of fresh farm eggs. If you've ever gotten eggs straight off the farm, so there's like regular grocery store eggs, then there's organic grocery store eggs, but then there's walking on the farm and actually picking eggs off of the chicken coop. There's different things you need to know and how to take care of those eggs to help extend the life if needed, to help make sure that they're cleaned properly. You just have to take extra steps. It's not just, taking them out of the carton when you get them from the grocery store, breaking it and start cooking. All right, so that's another bucket. And then the last bucket that they're going to talk about is they're directly connected to a nonprofit organization, and 75% of the proceeds that they get is going to go to that nonprofit. And so they're going to spend a significant amount of time elevating that nonprofit and making sure people know about it and support them as well. And so when they create content, it's always going to be from one of those three categories. Every now and then they'll do sales and information about how to buy eggs. They're going to do a subscription service, so how to sign up for the subscription service. They'll do stuff like that to sell the product, the actual eggs, but all the other stuff of just keeping their audience engaged, helping them know the brand more, really establishing their brand identity, is going to come from those three buckets. So that's what I mean when you talk about content pillars, content buckets. You want to establish what are your 3 or 4 pillars that you can pull from and know your team will know, okay, this is where we're going to create content from. And then the fun part is deciding, okay, what bucket is the most important for each season? And then say, okay, well, 75% of our content should come from this bucket, and then 10% from this bucket. You can kind of change it up, but your buckets should stay consistent throughout your campaign. And your campaign can last like either a quarter or a year. And then you can see, okay, did my business evolve? And do we have new content pillars that we can look at too? So that's what I mean by content pillars and themes. So now that we have a good foundation, we started with setting clear objectives. Then we moved to understanding your audience. Then we talked about the platform selection and the strategy to use for there. Now we're going to end with your content planning and creation. You want to develop a content calendar. Creating a content calendar is going to help outline the topics we just mentioned about, the formats you're going to use, and your posting schedule for your content. A content calendar ensures that you have consistency and helps you stay organized and strategic in your content creation and distribution efforts. Once you've developed your content calendar, then you can start looking into content mix and variety. Diversify your content mix to keep your audience engaged and interested. What I mean by that is experiment with different content formats, such as using images, videos, polls, infographics, and even user-generated content to provide value and variety to your audience. So, for instance, I do a podcast. I do that every week. And so that is pretty consistent, but I do diversify the way that I share my podcast to my audience so people get it in different ways. And if people resonate more with watching it on YouTube, even though they don't see my face, they still get the video experience and get to hear the good content. If they prefer to just listen to the podcast, they have it. And I also do a written summary that's pretty in depth about what I talk about, so they can read the blog. So they have different content formats that they can engage in. And then when I share it on social media, I do some little short videos that will be a clip from what I share. And then I also do some just quotes. And so again, giving people options to connect with the content I'm sharing, hopefully learn something from it, apply it to their business, but ultimately get to know me better as well. Okay, the last thing we want to talk about is maintaining brand consistency. Now that you've developed a content calendar and you're mixing up the content variety and how you deliver your content, we're going to talk about how you maintain a consistent brand identity. Maintaining consistency in your brand voice, your tone, the visual identity across any platform you use is really important. Consistent branding helps you build your brand recognition and trust among your audience. This is going to help reinforce your brand's presence and build your credibility. Really important, especially for those doing services that are local based. You really need to make sure that people, when they see you, they're getting a consistent experience, and that's help building and reinforcing that trust with you. Okay, so that was a pretty long episode, but I hope you were able to write down and understand a lot of the concepts that we discussed today. As I wrap up today's episode, let's recap what we covered today together. We discussed the importance of setting clear objectives for your social media strategy, understanding your audience through thorough research, selecting the right platforms, and tailoring your content strategy accordingly. And then finally, the significance of consistent content planning and creation. Remember, effective social media planning is essential for driving business success in 2024. If you found today's episode helpful, please be sure, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our podcast for even more valuable insights on marketing strategies and for small business owners. Join us next week as we delve into the exciting world of utilizing social media trends in your strategy. So stay tuned. Until next time, this is Philippa Channer signing off, wishing you success and growth in your social media endeavors. Thanks for listening. Have a good week.